I need y'all to tell me if this is absolute overkill. They're not real. I don't wear real glasses. They're blue light glasses. I just thought, they were also $200. Hear me out, okay? I was like, I want to look. It's like, I don't know if any of y'all did this when you were younger, but maybe you thought about getting braces, you know? I used to want braces, even though I have, pretty decent teeth. When I was younger, I used to want braces. And now that I'm older, I for some reason want glasses. And I'm sure anybody who has glasses, you would sure as fuck not want to have glasses. You probably want to be able to see. So, why I'm wearing these for performative reasons? I thought they added to the vibe. I want people to look at me and be like, oh, you know what? He's educated. So that's why I have these. If they're overkill, let me know. But they're just aesthetic. Okay? Now, fam, let's get into this podcast episode. Press play, and what you might hear might not be real. At least, not in the way that we used to mean it. A warm vocal, a crackle of vinyl, a tiny mistake that was made. Those fingerprints at least told us that someone lived inside a song. Now, code can mimic that life. So, what the fuck does real even mean? When sound can be written by an algorithm. Squad, welcome to Curated, where music moves, style speaks, and creativity shapes culture because culture isn't created, it's curated. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Carlos. This is the start of a new season of the podcast. And I mean that in the sense that, like, we're going into seasons. I'm planning to truncate and bundle these podcast episodes into seasons, essentially. Thematically, I just wanted to create some more cohesion between the things that we talked about and allow us all to just really explore different topics in depth. This is the start of that very first season, which I like to call the Age of Authenticity. It's a time where everything, literally every single fucking thing, music, art, even our own identity, can be generated, replicated, remixed by machines. And because of that, realness isn't just this vibe, it's value. It's something that we have to put effort into creating. It's something that we need more of. This season is about finding out what authenticity looks like now in our work, in our culture, in ourselves, when imitation has become effortless. Each episode will explore how creativity is responding, whether it's doubling down on craft, redefining originality, building trust with audiences who crave more of something that just feels human. So today, we're going to talk about where I think the tension is the loudest, and that is the battle between human craft and AI music. Let's get into it. Before algorithms, we used to measure skill in fingerprints, right? You could hear the human, the breath of somebody singing, the imperfection of a song. There was story. And the reality of it all is that now that we have all this AI shit going on, maybe we don't just want perfection. We want presence. And this isn't to say that AI is perfect, because it is not. It is not. It is not. But I think more than anything, now that there's so much fakeness out in the world, all we're craving more of is realness. That hiss of breath at the end of the line, the little timing wobble in the drum fill, those tell us that somebody was there. Producer Maya Blue once said, I left the mic bleed in the track. That's my room. That's my truth. If I take that out, I take myself out. I think audiences call that authentic, but authenticity isn't just a sound, it's an intention. It's what happens when the person behind the art bleeds through. And now that feeling, that presence is being tested. It's 2025, and AI music was sold to artists, creatives, as something that would help the artistry. It's everywhere. And in my opinion, more than anything, it's probably done the opposite of that. Spotify, for example, introduced its AI playlist tool that lets you build a playlist from a single sentence. Its AI DJ talks to you, learns your mood, reprograms your listening habits. At the same time, the company says it deleted 75 million spammy or AI flooded tracks this year alone. A quiet war for music quality. Another streaming rival reported that over a quarter of the daily uploads are now fully AI generated. Y'all, pause real quick. That shit is crazy. That is millions of songs that are written, sung, or mastered by machines. The industry response has been both like of innovation and of panic. Labels are drafting AI licensing deals. They're trying to control how their catalogs train these models. Artists are split between fear and fascination. God presented this tool to me, said Timberland, who's been open about using AI voices in his beats. Meanwhile, quote unquote, over 200 musicians signed an open letter in April of 2024 condemning AI's unchecked use, calling it a threat to human artistry. Two realities coexist, the tool and the threat. And sitting between them, all of us wondering what to trust. The moral background of this all is who gets to make music and who gets to own that story? And more than anything, music is a creative output. Being in anything that is of entertainment is a creative output. People are making a profession and a livelihood out of this creative output. When AI starts to dominate these spaces, what is left of us to create? What is left of this very, what I would say, integral part of our human being, which is creativity? What happens when that shit is strapped from us? When an AI band like the Velvet Sundown racked up over 1 million Spotify streams before anyone realized that it was synthetic, listeners felt tricked. Was it good music? Maybe. But the reaction wasn't about the quality, it was about consent. Many independent vocalists and artists are telling reporters they're finding their cloned voice on a track that they never made. The song wasn't even bad, but that person wasn't them. This is the real identity crisis of art. When sound itself can be faked, authenticity becomes an act of resistance. Someone said earlier this year, AI can't write a whole song. Thank God. It's terrible at lyrics, but it can give you ideas. That's the gray area, the between of collaboration and intimidation, between using the machine and letting it use you. The paradox comes when AI gets more capable. And trust me, y'all, these fucking billionaires are not gonna stop investing on this shit. That is where they're putting all their money. Why? I've talked about this in a different episode, but there's just fascination around AI product that creates. It sounds fun. It sounds more captivating. If somebody was to tell me there's an AI tool that now is able to automate all my workflows, nobody gives a shit. That sounds boring as fuck. But when you tell somebody that there's a machine out there who can replicate this voice of an artist for your track, doesn't that intrigue you a little more than talking about the other boring shit? AI is going to continue to become more and more capable in this space. When that happens, realness becomes a lot more valuable. I'm sure at some point we're going to start to see tags like human performed or verified voice. Those things are going to start to appear in streaming platforms. Authenticity is like a metadata. In my opinion, like live sessions, in studio takes, analog textures, I hope that they all make a comeback, not as nostalgia, but as proof of touch, proof that there's craftsmanship, proof that there is quote unquote artistry being put into something. The future for now, I think, is going to look very hybrid. AI is going to be a collaborator, and the human is going to be the curator. The algorithm delivers a sound, but the meaning still needs a heartbeat. This like realness in a way is going to become like a little bit of its own genre right? Like people are gonna brag at the fact that their track doesn't have any AI. It's like when you make organic food labels, but for music, right? You're saying my shit ain't got none of that fluff. My stuff is real. I made this myself. It's handmade. It's none of that other bullshit. The next evolution of music, not it's not necessarily going to be about who makes it, because those lines are going to get blurry and we're never going to know who the fuck did it, but who means it. Like who at the end of the day is making music, because it's rooted in emotion. It's rooted in an experience, a human experience. And that is huge. Like, really think about it, y'all. Like, I want to listen to something that evokes something out of me. When I write music, the intent is to share my experiences of life in a form that I feel like could translate into something that other people could experience. I have this tattoo on my fucking hand that says a conduit of emotions, because a song, as Oak Fettler, who was a great producer, once said, is a conduit of emotions from me to you, right? It is this vessel of emotions that comes from the music, the writer, to somebody else. And those emotions, although sure, you can replicate them in AI in some way, they're synthetic. Like it's not real. And you know that. And the way that you know that is by the artist, by the human, by the person who is sharing with you their experiences of life and how you understand this individual as a person. That's how you associate their music with them. We know Taylor Swift as this gal who, has been through so many past relationships and heartbreaks, and she writes about that because that's who she is. We know Louis Capaldi as somebody who, likewise, is an overthinker, an anxious guy who constantly thinks about all these aspects of relationships and life, and you hear that in his music. You are not going to find that type of shit with AI. I don't think you ever will. I want to get a little more in the weeds about what's been happening in the industry, just so we're all kind of caught up with the world. Spotify, specifically, has been taking significant steps in addressing the influence of AI in music creation, emphasizing artist rights and responsible innovation. In October of this year, Spotify announced a partnership with major record labels: Sony Music, Universal Music, Warner Music Group. Again, they're the big three, heavy hitters here. The collaboration is aiming to develop artist first AI music products, focusing on 4 core principles: advanced licensing, ensuring that all AI generated content is licensed before released; opt-in participation, that allows artists to choose their investment in AI projects; and fair compensation, guaranteeing that artists receive appropriate royalties. And then the last one is enhanced artist fan connection, using AI to strengthen the relationship between creators and their audiences. For a lot of artists and people, you're like, okay, like we're moving in the right direction. Maybe we're trying to find really the middle ground between AI and human creativity, and how do we mitigate preserving the creativity of an artist and the voice of an artist while we evolve. But like with anything, as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, the more and more we're going to push other aspects out. And even though, sure, this at a high level seems like it is moving in the right direction, it is moving in a way that will protect artists, we have to trail that path very carefully, because before we know it, this shit could go the wrong way. And there could be more push and more investment, as there is going to continue to be, towards AI really manipulating and taking that creative space that artists should have. This initiative is a response to the concerns over unauthorized use of work by AI. It aims to set industry standards for ethical AI deployment in music, but we'll see. We have to keep a close eye on all this. The global AI generated music market has projected to reach approximately $2 billion. It is growing at a compound annual growth rate of nearly 30% from previous years. As of Q1 of this year, Spotify boasts 602 million monthly active users, a 16% increase from the previous year. Premium subscribers are at 252 million, up 220 million in Q1 of 2024. Spotify's premium revenue has reached approximately 14.2 billion in 2025, a 19% year-over-year increase. AI-generated music artists have started to generate significant money. Velvet Sundown, who I mentioned earlier, amassed over 1.2 million streams with their debut album Floating on Echoes, which obviously, being put on these platforms, earned them substantial money. I've talked about the ethical components of what AI does, but besides that, it does pose other challenges, right? Streaming fraud. Platforms like Deezer reported up to 70% of streams of AI-generated music as fraudulent, manipulated by bots to inflate play counts and collect royalties. Content spam. Spotify, like I mentioned, last month removed 75 million spam tracks in the past year, many that were generated by AI tools to exploit the platform's royalty structure. And, let's go back to what I was mentioning. At the end of the day, prominent artists are expressing concern over AI's impact on creativity and authenticity. When there are fully AI-generated bands like Velvet Sundown, it sparks debate about transparency and about trust in the industry. As a listener, you're like, bro, what the fuck? You're like, bro, what the fuck? But then you're like, okay, I get it. Like I said, it's not bad music, but it feels a little icky, right? Doesn't it feel weird to be like, oh wow, I really fuck with the song, but it was made by a fucking bot? Sure. Spotify's collaboration with these major labels is marking a proactive approach to integrating AI into the music industry while safeguarding the artist's rights. When you're establishing some clear ethical guidelines and promoting transparency, again, it seems like we're moving in the right direction. Spotify is aiming to foster this balanced ecosystem where technology enhances rather than diminishes the value of human creativity. But that's what every billionaire, every industry giant is saying. These partnerships are sure setting a precedent for responsible AI using music, but how far are we going to take that integration before we realize that shit, maybe it is taking up space that humans should be part of, especially in a case like music. It's a creative field, and music in itself is a creative element that I think is true to humans. And again, when we're stripping that stuff away, slowly stripping our ability to make stuff, what the fuck makes us human? Realness isn't nostalgia, it's rebellion. In this age where you can pretty much fake anything, the most radical thing we can probably do is to stay as human as possible. Leave the fingerprints in the work. And allow yourself to be fucking messy. It's okay to make shit that is not perfect, that is not spewed into some AI chatbot to help you perfect it. Like, it's okay to go through those steps and leave all those marks in the work that you do, because that's what makes the work unique. It's what makes it yours. It's what makes it art. Fam, I want you all to let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. If you are an artist, if you're a musician of any sort, are you scared? How are you adapting AI in your daily musical endeavors? What are truly your thoughts about what's happening in the industry as independent artists? I'm personally scared. I'm following the conversations. It's inevitable. Like AI is coming and we either adapt to it or we lose to it. But, you know, in past years, shit as this has happened, right? Like when the computer was introduced, when the iPhone was introduced, like all these things, like we knew they were going to take over the world and we knew that we had to integrate them into our lives. But this specific thing is a lot more scarier to me because it directly targets something that I find to be one of the most key elements of us being human, and that is our ability to make stuff, to make music, to make art, to be creative. So, squad, in the rest of this season, which will last for a few couple of weeks, we're going to keep exploring this idea of authenticity. And I have something up my sleeve, okay? I need you all to stay locked the fuck in because on social, we have some stuff. And then I am working on that zine. Sign up for the newsletter that's coming up too. Like, we have some juicy shit that I promise you all you do not want to miss out on. So, if you're watching this on the tube, subscribe, do your thing. If you're watching this on Spotify, wherever else, give it a thumbs up. I don't know what it tells you to do, but just do a little something, so we can get more views, we can get more listens. If you're just listening to this on any of the other streaming platforms, whatever you did to engage with this podcast episode, just know that I really, 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 really do appreciate you all. I fuck with you. I fuck with you hard. And I'll catch you on the next one.